Many people comment on my videos that I'm a hater, that I don't understand 32-bit float. So I'm thinking maybe we need to come at this subject from another way, because I'm not really saying don't use 32-bit float, or anybody who does YouTube reviews are bad, in what they cover. What I'm talking about is that how does a camera really work when it comes to recording audio? Now, on this GH6, for instance, which I do these experiments with, it can save audio either as a 16-bit format or a 24-bit format. So you think 24-bit would be the best, but you have to understand that's just how many values for loudness it can save in the file. It doesn't mean that you can differentiate all of them. So the effective bit depth is really how much information is in the container where it sounds true to you. And as you listen to these examples, you'll see, at least for me, I actually don't hear any difference after 10-bit. So if you're thinking about getting a GH7 to do 32-bit float, it'll write the 10 bits to 32-bit float, but it's still effectively 10 bits. And in my experiments, you can listen, you can decide, does really 10-bit sound much different from 12-bit or 16-bit? I'll say at least, okay, say 12-bit. I can't hear any difference above 12-bit. And again, the smallest container that these consumer cameras will hold are 16-bit. And the 16-bit, because that's just the history of the electronics industry, it's all been standard on 8-bit chunk data. So it's 8, 16, 24, 32. But it could have been 7, 14, 21. If the technology decisions, 30, 50 years ago were different, we could have had that. So remember, that's arbitrary. But anyway, that's the way electronics are made. You don't get like custom memory to be 6-bit or 10-bit or something. It's just cheaper to buy the commodity that everybody uses, which is 8-bit, 8, 16, 24, 32. So I hope you enjoy these examples, and decide for yourself what you're hearing. And then after the examples, I'll explain what it really means when I'm saying that it's effectively 5 bits or 8 bits or 10 bits, and I'll show you the data. And let me also point out that once you send your video to Netflix or YouTube or anywhere like that, it's compressing the video into a MP3 type format where the bit depth really isn't super relevant. It's not like a high bit depth. It's complicated. It's the compression. So even what you're watching here, somebody who's really technically minded would be like, if there's any differences, Max, between 10, 14, you wouldn't see it anyway because the compression algorithm would throw out that data. And that's true. So, again, I mean, I'm listening to it, raw. So maybe I'll post it. If you want the files, let me know. But if I just listen to the actual WAV files at full 24-bit and 10-bit or 12-bit, I can't hear the difference. Okay, I'm going to start speaking quietly. And now I'm speaking in a regular voice. What bit depth do we need? And now I'm going to do a loud voice. Hey, what bit depth do we need? Hey, can you hear the grandchildren in the background? Okay, I'm going to start speaking quietly. And now I'm speaking in a regular voice. What bit depth do we need? And now I'm going to do a loud voice. Hey, what bit depth do we need? Hey, can you hear the grandchildren in the background? Okay, I'm going to start speaking quietly. And now I'm speaking in a regular voice. What bit depth do we need? And now I'm going to do a loud voice. Hey, what bit depth do we need? Hey, can you hear the grandchildren in the background? Okay, I'm going to start speaking quietly. And now I'm speaking in a regular voice. What bit depth do we need? And now I'm going to do a loud voice. Hey, what bit depth do we need? Hey, can you hear the grandchildren in the background? Okay, I'm going to start speaking quietly. And now I'm speaking in a regular voice. What bit depth do we need? And now I'm going to do a loud voice. Hey, what bit depth do we need? Hey, can you hear the grandchildren in the background? Okay, I'm going to start speaking quietly. And now I'm speaking in a regular voice. What bit depth do we need? And now I'm going to do a loud voice. Hey, what bit depth do we need? Hey, can you hear the grandchildren in the background? Okay, so here's a sheet where I'm showing this is 12-bit. So a 12-bit data space can hold numbers from 1 to 4096, right? So if we were recording in native 12-bit, Now, of course, like I said, most the containers are 16 and 24 and 32. But let's say our container was 12-bit. We'd have 4,096 values to work with. So if I'm going to downscale to 10-bit, what it means is that I take, because remember, it's still putting it back in a 12-bit container. So we're going to take any value in 12-bit from 1 to 4 and make it a 1. Any value from 5 to 8, we're going to make it a 2. Any value from 9 to 3, 9 to 12, we're going to make it a 3, right? And so on. But actually, when we put it back in the container, we're going to put just a 4 and just an 8 and just a 12 and just a 16 back into the 12-bit container. But it won't have the 2s and the 3s and the 5, 6, 7, the 9, 10, 11, etc. Okay. And then 8-bit, same thing. We'd only record in the 12-bit space the 1, and then the 16, and then the 32, and then the 48. And you may ask, when you're listening to the thing, in 8-bit, you could, the quality was getting pretty good. It's getting, it's on the edge of where it starts to be usable. It's because our ears fill all this in. And that's why, another reason why, on high bit depth, your ear doesn't need more because your ear's already going to fill it in. So when you get to 12-bit, it's already filling it in. So if we had another column here for 16-bit or 32, all that extra resolution wouldn't mean anything because your ear has already filled it in. Like I said, even on 10-bit, which goes up to basically 1,024 values, you only need like 1,024 values of loudness that are sampled or you played at 1/48th of a second, every 1/48th of a second, to get voice that sounds legible. So anyway, I hope this helps you understand what we're doing. So every time it's like in 5-bit, it's even lower than this, but that's what's happening. And here I just want to show you, this is a Python code I'm using to downsample the file from 5 to 17. So just basically goes to the target bit depth, it loads the data. And in the Excel sheet, you'll see it just basically will take all a number range in the larger bit depth and just write the numbers as if a smaller data space. Here's the first test I did. Now, let me point out my voice is really raspy because I'm getting over COVID. So if you think all the audio sounds bad, I'm sorry. But I hope you get the point. I hope it illustrates enough what I'm trying to say is, again, whatever camera you have plenty of audio recording dynamic range. You don't need more than 16-bit. Okay. So now I'm recording, and yes, you can see the meter is like perfect. So I can say the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain. And I can say it loudly. But if I really wanted to say it loudly, it's the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain. All right, let's go to the tape. Okay, I pulled a little trick there. Although the camera is recording 24-bit PCM audio, I actually took the audio and resampled it down to 10-bit. So what you were hearing is 10-bit. And you could hear me fine, right? Now I'm going to play the original clip with the original internal 24-bit audio. And you let me know if it sounds way better to you. So now I'm recording, and yes, you can see the meter is like perfect. So I can say the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain. And I can say it loudly. But if I really wanted to say it loudly, it's the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain. All right, let's go to the tape. So now I'm recording, and yes, you can see the meter is like perfect. So I can say the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain. And I can say it loudly. But if I really wanted to say it loudly, it's the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain. All right, let's go to the tape. So now I'm recording, and yes, you can see the meter is like perfect. So I can say the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain. And I can say it loudly. But if I really wanted to say it loudly, it's the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain.